I should have had a pearl necklace because, you know, everyone loves a pearl necklace. Oh, hey! Hi, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo, with the Fingerdoo review of RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star 6, Episode 8. And before I get started, I would just like to welcome a couple of new Patreoners to the Fingerdoo family. Elena Glam, who has some of the best drag queen makeup tutorials on YouTube. Teresa Mulhern, that Irish queen of green. And Paul Cranawetter and Music is Magic. They all joined me on Patreon this week, and I couldn't be prouder or more grateful. Thank you guys for your love and support. If you'd like to join the Fingerdoo family on Patreon, I have a link for it down below in the description box. While you're down there, why not like this video now? Because you know you're going to love it. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, why don't you do that too? I also want to thank this week's Tipperdoo, Vito Bacuzzi, who says, Rue's new laugh has got to go. No kidding. And it can take that old laugh with it, I'm so serious. If you'd like to support this channel with a Tipperdoo, that link is down below too. I'm just saying, seriously. And when you do, don't forget to leave me a little note. I also need to thank this week's Redbubble model, Glenn, modeling his Wilma Pride mug. We raised over $220 for Rainbow Railroad over the month of June and July. You can still get any of the Wilma Pride images on any of the products that are available down there at Redbubble. I've got that link down below. Now, don't despair. You can still get the Wilma Pride, but if you want to buy something from the Fingerdoo page at Redbubble, and contribute to Rainbow Railroad, the Denise Journeau collection, which always gets donated directly to Rainbow Railroad, is still available. She's got those 4 fabulous images: Candy Witch, Caesar Mermaid, Autumnal Wilma, and Film Noir Wilma. Those are fabulous images, and you can get them at Redbubble. Seriously. Of course, if you'd like to get more information about Rainbow Railroad or donate to them directly, that link is also down below. It's all down below. It's all down below. Okay, now, Jorge, drink me. Ooh, what is this dark and lovely, shapely thing? Coke Zero and tequila, my favorite. We call that a sloppy lady here at Camp Fingerdoo. I'm just saying. Okay, so we started this episode where we left off last week. Jan had just been eliminated, and the queens were congratulating Trinity by reading her for that wig malfunction. Of course, it was done out of love, I'm sure, because none of those queens wants to see Trinity's ego get out of control. Ginger, on the other hand, just out and out threw shade across that workroom by pointing out, 2 wins or not, Trinity had yet to win a lip sync. Now, more than a few of you have mentioned that you think Trinity had planned that malfunction so as to avoid having to eliminate Jan and possibly facing the wrath of her fans. I get it. Jan's fans are scarier than that season 12 face crack. Of course, the tie was discussed. The first one in All-Stars history. Personally, I think it made sense for the top queens vote to break the tie. Just don't tell Trinity I said that. I think Trinity made the right decision, although Jan did have a win. She had been in the bottom more than twice and had a few harsh critiques. Even though Pandora had been cruising winless through the safe zone, she'd also received some very positive critiques, so it sounds fair to me. That said, the votes needed to be counted and the drama continued. Both Eureka and Ginger chose Pandora. So much for Ginger being Pandora's good close friend. Seriously. How does Ginger treat her enemies? Gift cards and kisses? Because I'd be okay with that. The next day, the queens bid Jan an official farewell, and as they got down to realizing how empty the room had become, there was Ru with this week's Maxi Challenge, the Snatch Game of Love. The queens were thrilled, but Trinity blew her wad when Ru said this week's guest judge was Mama Beyonce herself, Miss Tina Knowles-Lawson. Seriously, I thought they were going to have to wheel her out of there, poor thing. Right away, the queens got down to it. Of course, they were all worried about Ginger. Her Adele on season 7 almost stole that show away from Kennedy's Little Richard. Do you remember that? Shut up! Woo! I have to say, as great as Ginger's Adele was, her follow-up as Tammy Faye on All-Stars 2 was less than heavenly. So for me, there was a little room there to sweep past her and win this one. Because I would do it quick and not look back, because she'd kill you. I have to say I was thrilled to hear that Ginger was doing Phyllis Diller, mostly because I'm old. But I'm also imagining all you babies out there Googling Phyllis Diller. Aha! That's how she laughed. Eureka had to go big with her follow-up to her season 10 Honey Boo Boo success, so she chose Divine. Yeah, I'd say that's bigger. Pandora was another one who had a lot to live up to. Her Carol Channing on season 2 was spectacular and would have won if, well, Tatiana hadn't whipped out that brilliant Britney Spears. Seriously, no one expected it. I mean, where she had room to whip that out from under, I have no idea. Pandora's choice this time around? Kim Cattrall. Thank God Ru showed up to check on the queens and their choices. Trinity was going to do Whitney Houston. I was surprised. If Beyonce has a history of being hard to impersonate on Snatch Game, Whitney is downright impossible. Trinity said she toured Canada doing Whitney Houston, but I'll bet she never practiced talking off the cuff like Whitney. This is the biggest problem most of these queens make. They choose a celebrity they look like and don't give the persona and personality a second thought. No one wins Snatch Game sitting and staring is all I'm saying, even if you are doing Paris Hilton. Have you seen her new cooking show? She has Kim Kardashian doing all the work. It's 2003 all over again. But what else is Kim doing? Kylie surprised the hell out of me by telling Ru that she was doing Dolly Parton. She must have missed Karen from Finance's attempt on Drag Race from Down Under. There it is. Of course, Kylie has the dubious honor of being the first queen to ever sashay because of Snatch Game. Back on season 2, she tried to do Lady Gaga, another hurdle if you ask me. Kylie told Ru that she's never impersonated Dolly Parton before, so clearly this was a good plan. Raja told Ru that she was going to do LaToya Jackson. Ru pointed out that she's known LaToya for 25 years, which totally made Raja feel much better about her choices. After the walkthrough with Ru, Trinity admitted to Ginger that, well, she's not funny off the top of her head. And apparently there'd been complaints. And then it was on to the Snatch Game of Love. Ginger, Trinity, and Kylie were up first, bringing their Phyllis, Whitney, and Dolly to the game. They all did well off the top, saying hello to Ru, but Kylie surprised the hell out of me again. Even though she wasn't smiling as much as I think Dolly Parton would normally, she was hilarious. Cheyenne Jackson was the first contestant. Ginger and Kylie killed this challenge. If I were going to pick a winner, it would be Kylie, only because she surprised the hell out of me how good she was. Poor Trinity, though. She didn't stand a chance. Plus, it didn't help that she couldn't remember any of the names of Whitney Houston's songs. But Ginger did, and that's probably why Cheyenne picked her as the winner. Seriously. For round 2, we had Eureka as Divine, Pandora as Kim Cattrall, and Raja as LaToya Jackson. I have to say right off the hop, I was worried for Pandora. Although she had Kim Cattrall's voice down, she wasn't bringing the funny like Eureka and Raja did. Seriously. Fortune Feimster was this round's snatch catcher, and although she did well, this round didn't go as well as the first round did. Poor Pandora was the weakest link in this round for me. None of her jokes, if you can call them that, landed. Plus, Eureka's Divine was larger than life, which made it hard for her to get a joke in edgewise. If Eureka had been funnier, I would have been okay with that. I also could not get over how much Raja's makeup made her look like LaToya Jackson. It impressed the hell out of me. I'm so serious. Plus, no offense, but she was way funnier than I thought she would be. Seriously. So I tried to do Lucille Ball makeup, but I'm not good at it. I'm just saying. If I was going to choose, Raja would have been the winner of that round, but it was Fortune's choice, and, well, she chose no one. What the hell? She and Cheyenne did some long, drawn-out, would you marry me thing that was less funny to me than Trinity's Whitney, so I guess we only had one winner. Seriously, what were the writers thinking? And then it was Elimination Day. Raja was feeling nervous about her Snatch Game, which, I have to say, surprised me. I thought she did a really good job. Kylie was feeling good about her Dolly, and she and Ginger had some good back and forth during the game, but then Ginger won the round. Trinity was fretting over the fact that none of her jokes landed, while Pandora was totally thrown by Eureka's larger-than-life performance as Divine. As for Eureka, she didn't make any apologies for going big because it definitely meant that she wasn't going home. Seriously. Here's to Eureka. Of course, the conversation turned to Fortune not picking a winner. Well, that's not true. She picked Cheyenne, which still didn't sit well with Ginger. After all, Ginger's the one who won a date with him. Hell, Lord knows I'd be upset about that. Feemster better watch her back in that parking lot is all I'm saying. Ginger Little should sneak up on you. And then it was time for the runway. Ru looked gorgeous in her glittery asymmetrical mini dress. She's really showing a lot more leg this season, and I have to say, I love it. Of course, Michelle and Carson were there, along with the Queen Bee Mother herself, Tina Knowles-Lawson. Category is Pop Art. Well, all I have to say about Ginger Minj's runway, which was totally cute, was that it's a good thing she went first because she wasn't the only one pulling a Warhol with her fabric. I also thought her two-dimensional wig was a hoot, so I gave her a Fingerdoo. Kylie was next, and at least she had only one face on her front, but it was a big butt. She had a whole lot of cleavage in the back, which of course deserved a Fingerdoo. I love me some butt cleavage. That's not cleavage, that's a Grand Canyon. Put it away, there's an echo. I have to admit that I liked Eureka's Warhol-esque swing dress a bit more than Ginger's because it didn't have sleeves to swallow her up, so I gave her a Fingerdoo too. Pandora also put her face on her fabric, but in this instance, the fabric was a cape paired with a graphic headpiece and petite bag, which I love, so Fingerdoo. Oddly enough, petite bag was never my drag queen name in high school. Anywhere. I said it wasn't. I thought Raja looked fantastic, but I didn't really feel her runway was pop art. Yes, she had her name on her boots and her Urkel portrait on her coat, but I felt that she could have had that in her wardrobe already. Plus, the I'm not gagging speech bubble on her catsuit looked like it was added at the last minute, so I hate to do it, but I gave this runway a finger don't. I love Raja. After all that Warhol imagery, it was nice that Trinity's Liechtenstein-influenced jacket and makeup took my breath away. Plus, she was the only one with a message to her art, although I have to say that Black Lives Matter sign looked like an afterthought to me. I think it could have been done better, but still, I gave Trinity a Fingerdoo too. And then it was time for the judges' critiques. Ginger was first, and all the judges loved her Snatch Game. Michelle couldn't say enough about it. Miss Knowles loved Ginger's runway and said she did Andy Warhol proud. Miss Knowles saying Trinity's name was the highlight of Trinity's day, which is good because although everyone loved her runway and the message it conveyed, no one had anything good to say about her Snatch Game. Even Ru had better Whitney references than Trinity did. It's probably because she's old. Kylie was another fave of the judges. Michelle loved her runway, but everyone gagged over her Dolly Parton. Even Ru admitted that she was worried about Kylie doing Dolly, but Kylie more than redeemed herself from that first Snatch Game 11 years ago. Do you remember? No, because it was 11 years ago. Eureka was next, and Carson loved her runway, but wished she had the same hairdo as in her picture. I get that. As for her Snatch Game, Miss Knowles loved her look as Divine and thought that it was art in itself. And even though Michelle admitted that not all Eureka's jokes landed, she swung big, and that's what Snatch Game's all about. Seriously. Pandora was next, and although everyone loved her runway, Michelle thought she picked a difficult character to do because Kim Cattrall's Sex and the City persona is kind of one note, and even though Miss Knowles agreed, she still felt that Pandora delivered a few knee slappers. Now, Knee Slapper was my drag queen name in high school. I have to say, I was disappointed that Pandora threw Eureka's Divine under the bus by saying that she had difficulty responding to what she was saying. So was Eureka. Seriously. Finally, it was time for Raja. Carson felt that her runway could have been more pop art, and Miss Knowles agreed, but said she had the best runway walk of the night. As for her Snatch Game, everyone was impressed, but none more than Ru, although she would have loved to have seen her wear a headband. Personally, I'm over the headband. And then Ru announced that Ginger was this week's winner and that Trinity and Pandora were in the bottom. No surprise there, although I would have loved to have seen Kylie win only because she really surprised me with her dolly. Actually, I thought it would be nice to have a tie and then there could have been a three-way lip sync at the end. Just me? Back in the Untucked Lounge, everyone congratulated Ginger on her second win, but None more than Ginger herself. Here's the Ginger. Although Trinity was in the bottom, she wasn't feeling down because she'd had a good time and she didn't want anyone to think that she had given up in the challenge. She's just not that quick and funny. It's not a crime. Someone who should be that quick and funny is Pandora. Eureka took a moment to confront Pandora about her alleged blaming of her divine performance, throwing her performance off. Pandora apologized and clarified she wasn't blaming Eureka's performance for her failure. She was just thrown by it. Still sounds like blaming to me. While Trinity chatted with Ginger, she pointed out that this was her first time in the bottom and, well, Pandora's second, plus she doesn't have a win and Trinity has two. Still, Ginger said she'd wish she'd seen Trinity try harder. Plus, let's say it, she's tied with Ginger and, well, that could be a threat for Ginger. Seriously. Pandora, on the other hand, was disappointed with her Snatch game, especially after her first Snatch game as Carol Channing, which was a huge inspiration for Ginger and her drag. Plus, they're friends now, so it was obviously not going to be the easiest decision for Ginger. Or it could be. After the queens voted, they headed back to the main stage to see that this week's lip sync assassin was Heidi in Closet. She looked good, but that hair. What is it with her and big round hairdos? Seriously. This was a fun lip sync, although I thought Heidi had a wig malfunction, but it was just a premature wig reveal. I've been there. Heidi did a great job. Ginger, on the other hand, reverted to her old standby, which was to try and copy what her opponent was doing, which is always so funny. So, when the music stopped, Ru announced that Ginger was this week's winner, receiving $20,000 more. That's $50,000 for Ginger. If she keeps this up, who cares? She wins the crown. She'll have $100,000 in no time if she keeps it up, I'm just saying. As for whose lipstick Ginger had, it was Pandora's, which really was the only choice to make. Of course, back in the workroom, Ru had a video message inviting Pandora to the game within a game, so she'll be back. She better be back soon because they're down to the top 5 queens. If they leave it any longer, the top 3 or 4 are going to be pissed to have an old queen come back at that point. Seriously. So, what did you think? Had Pandora outstayed her welcome? Is Trinity in trouble? Should Kylie have won the Snatch game? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And while you're down there, don't forget to like this video if you did and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And if you'd like to support this channel, all the links are down below. Until next time, miss me. Mwah! Seriously. So much fun this episode. Do you like my Lucille ball? No, it's up here. It's up here. I really think that Kylie should have won that Snatch game. I would have put money down that Kylie would have failed as Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton's such a hard character to do, and she did it great. I'm just surprised Kylie wasn't quick enough to make some reference to Whitney singing one of her songs. I think if she'd done that, she would have won. If she'd done that, she would have won. But Raja needs to get an honorable mention for that, LaToya Jackson. I don't even like LaToya Jackson as a person, particularly. And Raja made me laugh out loud more than a few times. I like cats, but I'm allergic.